New Zealand's central bank has raised rates by 75 points. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because, well, our poor cousins over in New Zealand, they're copping it pretty bloody hard. Their Reserve Bank has increased rates by 75 points. Let's jump over here and we can see on trading economics. There you go, guys, look at that. Increased the official cash rate by 75 basis points, not seen since 2009. So it's 4.25%. Let's change this chart to 25 years. We can see when it was much higher, but look at how steep that climb is. Look at how steep that is. So if you think about this, it's not been since 2009. That's a fair chunk of time. There'll be a lot of people that their entire working life have never seen rates this high. And if we go further down here, I mean, it hits consensus. This is the consensus trading economics and the economist consensus and the trading economic forecast. So it's all at 4.25. We jump over here. There's an article by Reuters that we'll look at. And then we'll jump in and see what the Reserve Bank in New Zealand actually has to say, why they've done this. Because a 75 basis point hike, if you're on a variable interest rate, that's going to filter through to what you're paying. Don't kid yourself. Here in Australia, and what we've been discussing on the channel, is those of us that locked in really low because we didn't trust the Reserve Bank, and there'll be people who are coming off the super low rates to much higher rates. Now, I haven't been able to track down if it's a whole bunch of old, virtual boomers like me who locked in, who took advantage of it because we knew it wouldn't be any good, or if it was all a bunch of first home buyers jumping in, using that to actually allow them to buy property, because they're going to be the ones that are screwed. Old folks who bought years ago, it just means our repayments will go back to normal. But anyway, let's look at this. So New Zealand Central Bank raises rates by 75 basis points. So to a 14-year high of 4.25% on Wednesday, and flagged more rate hikes to come as it struggles to contain stubbornly high inflation. Now, there's one metric I want to... Okay, so I found the Baltic Exchange Dry Index. It measures the cost of shipping goods worldwide. It fell 2.4% to 1,149 points on Tuesday, extending losses for a ninth day to its lowest level since September 7th. Okay, but if we have a look here, this is the chart, we can see we're approaching or pretty much within the range of what was normal since the GFC. Okay, so shipping is coming down. It's going back to normal. And for countries like Australia and New Zealand, that's going to have an impact on inflation, on a lot of the consumer goods that we buy. I mean, even the cheese and butter that I buy is manufactured in New Zealand. It's the cheapest one in Aldi, and it is grass-fed, or majority of it is going to be grass-fed. So, I'll go for that every bloody day of the week. So that's going to impact inflation. It's going to take some time to flow through, but it's coming. Then all these geniuses at the Reserve banks will think they're tinkering with the interest rates. It's going to be, we've fixed everything, aren't we geniuses? Anyway, 15 of 23 economists in a Reuters poll forecast the Reserve Bank of New Zealand would move by 75 basis points, the ninth straight hike since it began tightening in October 21. It now expects the cash rate to peak at 5.5% in September 2023, according to the monetary policy statement. So if we have a look here, we can see this is the statement from the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. And I'll just have a shot of coffee. We'll have a look at what they have to say. Because 75 points is a big move. It's a big move. Now, for my Kiwi viewers, are you prepared for this, guys? The committee agreed the official cash rate needs to reach a higher level and as sooner than previously indicated to ensure inflation returns to within its target range over the medium term. Core consumer price inflation is too high. Employment is beyond its maximum sustainable level, and near-term inflation expectations have risen. Global consumer price inflation is broad-based and remains heightened. Food and energy prices and persistent core inflation have combined to create very high headline inflation in many countries. Central banks are tightening monetary conditions in an effort to slow spending and reduce inflation pressure. The ongoing slowdown in global growth will affect New Zealand through both financial and trade channels and impact on people's confidence due to uncertainty. In New Zealand, household spending remains resilient, especially considering the rise in debt servicing costs, the fall in house prices, and low levels of consumer confidence. Now, the fall in house prices, you've got to realize, that's going to have an impact on the wealth effect. Because when you feel wealthier, when you feel like you've got more money, even if it's just on paper somewhere, you're going to splurge a bit more. You're going to say, you know what, I deserve this luxury good. I deserve that $2 large coffee at the petrol station, not the Povo $1 coffee. Can you tell I'm still bitter about the fact 7-Eleven have put their coffees up to $2? Employment levels are high and income growth and household savings are supporting spending. The rebound in tourism is also supporting domestic demand. The productivity capacity of the economy is being constrained by broad-based labour shortages and wage pressures are evident. Aggregate demand continues to outstrip New Zealand's capacity to supply goods and services, with a range of indicators continuing to significantly broad-based inflation pressure, broad-based inflation pressure. Committee members agreed that monetary conditions need to continue to tighten further so as to be confident there is sufficient restraint on spending to bring inflation back within its 1 to 3% per annum target range. The committee remains resolute in achieving the monetary policy remit. And with this news that's now come out, let's have a look at currencies. Let's see how the New Zealand dollar is going. Well, there you go. We can see the New Zealand USD, it's jumped right up there, guys, at least over the last year, but we'll look at the last week. So there you go, it's climbing up. So 61.6 US cents, as opposed to the Australian dollar where we're at 66 US cents. So now with the higher interest rate in New Zealand, it's going to burn a lot of the Kiwis who've bought into housing, but it should, make their dollar more attractive, at least to foreign investors, which will mean they're going to have, a purchasing power advantage. And will that, combined with the shipping cost decreases, impact the consumer costs for certain things? But will that all go out the window because the housing boom has gone to the moon and burned a lot of people? Well, let's have a talk. So this is certainly going to affect a lot of Kiwis. Their housing sector went nuts. People are going to have quite high debt servicing costs, and it's going to impact borrowing capacity of a lot of people. Now, will New Zealand juice up their immigration and pull more people over to increase demand? Will there be the international students and tourist demand is also putting increased pressure on housing? We'll have to see. Maybe I could ask some Kiwi viewers, is there a string of builders going bust over there? Is it as big as here in Australia? Because if they don't have a construction apocalypse, they may not have the same issues with ensuring supply is maintained. But regardless, it's going to be tough for a lot of Kiwis. As always, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other channels, HeiseBim and HeiseSays International, for other topics I discuss. If you're a fan and want to support us, you can financially on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.